the Wild Gut Project. My name is Carrie. This channel is all about being vegan on the low FODMAP diet for IBS. And today is a haul video, like how YouTubey, except obviously it's food and it's not a load of stuff, it's just things I think taste particularly good and are low FODMAP and very useful or effective. So let's get cracking. So probably the biggest game changer thing you can get for me on Amazon, but I think Australia you can get them maybe more easily because it's an Australian brand, and it's Massel's stock cubes. It costs about £10 to get all of these, is that right? Yeah. And then there's 7 cubes in each one, which is actually, like, I think this ends up being the same price as normal stock cubes, except these are beef style, but they are lactose-free, trans fat-free, cholesterol-free, GM-free, no animal content, no added MSG, and no garlic or onion, and they're certified low FODMAP. And they taste suspiciously beefy, and I don't really understand how they do it, but it's so useful in cooking. So those are probably my favourite flavour ones. But I got some more, they're just stocked up. And I got some chicken ones. These, I don't think they taste that chickeny, but they do taste good. And the classic vegetable ones. There's so many stock cubes, but they're so useful for adding flavour to any kind of savoury dish where you think it's really lacking the onion and garlic. So if you're making a sauce or a soup, obviously, add some stock cubes. If you're doing something with a plain protein powder, I would first put it in some stock like this if it's going to be for a protein savoury dish. Another one I got from Amazon because it's a lot cheaper than buying in the shop is nutritional yeast. There's some B12. I think you get 2-3 of these for about £10, and at least in the health food shops near me it's more like £5 a pot, so it's good value, and you know, it's low FODMAP. It adds a really good umami kind of savoury flavour, so I would get some of this. So the next one is if you can't get the tofu, smoked tofu, and it's this hickory liquid smoke. It says liquid smoke flavour, and I think that's literally, they get some smoked hickory wood and infuse the water with it. And you just put the tiniest few drops of this when you're marinating tofu. You can put it in sauces, and it really lifts the like savouriness of a dish and it makes it really satisfying, which is something you miss when you're not having onion and garlic. So I mean, I've had this a while, and you use the smallest amount. It always surprises people if I cook, they're like, oh, what did you put in this? It tastes so good. And you're like, oh, it's the liquid smoke. Protein powders. I was actually sent these. They messaged me on Instagram and sent them to me as like free samples, and they've sent me a few, and I would buy these ones again. They haven't paid me to say that, but they do actually taste really good. It's literally just peanut powder and pea protein powder, and then some palm sugar basically, and chia powder, and it's low FODMAP. I think it's a little bit difficult to combine because it's not clear how much low FODMAP is, so I would count this as probably one of the higher end portion low FODMAP things to be safe. But it does actually genuinely taste good, like, for both of them, which is quite hard to find. Like the usual rice and pea proteins don't taste good. Like, they don't. Yeah. I would say though, if you live outside the UK, I wouldn't buy them because the postage is insane, and it doesn't really add up. You could probably try and make your own based on the ingredient list of this if you live like in the US. Okay, a little excerpt from another day. I just wanted to show you this. Is that in there? Because I think this might actually be low FODMAP, and you can find it sometimes in Whole Foods and in Sainsbury's, and it's the bowl Japanese rainbow slaw salad. And by my estimations, the ingredients and the percentage and the total weight, it should end up low FODMAP. So that's an amazing option if you're in the UK and you're near a Whole Foods or a Sainsbury's that has it, probably more in the summertime. And I happen to know the bowl team and they're lovely, so I'd recommend this. And now for a super practical one, it's these B12 supplements. They're from CYTOPLAN, I will link them. Basically, I was looking online for a B12 supplement that didn't have a polyol in it. Most of them have sorbitol or mannitol, which if you're trying to be low FODMAP is obviously very, very annoying, and you need to take your B12 supplement if you're vegan. For this, my B12s were like totally good enough, but a bit low when I did the Thriver test. They send it to you in the post, you kind of prick your fingers, you send it off, and they tell you your kind of level blood tests for you. So my blood tests were low, and I had been taking a B12 supplement with mannitol in. Well, they weren't low, they were just adequate. They were like a bit low, but adequate. And the tablets were really expensive. It was about £20 for the same amount, whereas these ones were really cheap, and they're much higher, And now my B12 was actually a bit too high, so I'll take them less regularly when I took the test the second time round. So I think it's really good if you're taking supplements to check they're actually working. So I like these because they're FODMAP free, they're really cheap, and they clearly worked. And I actually emailed them to see if I could get a deal for you, and I could, so I think it was 20% off. I will write it if it wasn't, but there's a code and it lasts for a couple months, so I'll link that for you. But they often have deals and sales on anyway. I also took their D3 vegan supplements. They're made from lichen. Normally D3 is from the oil on sheep wool, which is super gross and unnecessary, obviously. So I got those, and they were also similarly cheap. And my vitamin D levels went way up with the second round of tests, so they were obviously very effective. Although there has been a big study in the media recently saying that taking a vitamin D supplement really isn't as effective as getting enough sun, and doesn't really give the same health benefits as sun, but that's not really an option when it's grey and winter in England. So yeah, I just thought I'd share with you that it at least raised my blood levels of vitamin D, and it's vegan, but you know, I had been taking these mushroom ones, which were way more expensive, from Holland & Barrett, and they did not do anything. If you're told to raise your vitamin D levels with supplements, those ones worked for me. Also, massive shout out to the people who used my link last time for Thriver, because it meant that I got my next test for free, because lots of you did, so that was very nice, thank you. And I'll link it below, because for your first test you can get 50% off with that link, so cheers, do that if you want to test the supplements work. So I hope you find these useful recommendations. There aren't a huge amount of processed foods out there that are low FODMAP and vegan, so your best bet's always going to be cooking from scratch, buying vegetables, buying canned legumes. Eating a balanced whole food plant-based diet is what we're after anyway, so I'm not going to recommend a ton of processed food. These are just things that have been particularly helpful when you're low FODMAP. But yeah, if you found any products, especially if you're outside the UK, because obviously I can't reach those, definitely recommend them in the comments. But yeah, take care. I will see you in a couple of weeks with another video. Bye.